There's nobody in here. Today I'm going to be talking about some of my anticipated reads for 2025. So come along for the ride. We're going to go over some of my top books I cannot wait to be released. And some of them are being released like in 2 weeks. So it's going to be so much fun. Let's get to the list. If you had asked me, would I be excited about a Freida McFadden book coming out? I would have said no until I read The Boyfriend, which blew me away. It was so amazing. If you have not read it, it was a 5-star read. You definitely have to. But she has a book coming out called The Crash. And this already has a Goodreads rating of 4.3, and there's like 1,000 people who've read it so far. So The Crash will be coming out January 28th. So like literally in a few days. I'm going to post this really quickly, but it already has good ratings. Like I said, it says the nightmare she's running from is nothing compared to where she's headed. Tegan is 8 months pregnant, alone, and desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror. So she hits the road planning to stay with her brother until she can figure out her next move. But she doesn't realize she's heading straight into a blizzard. She never arrives at her destination. Stranded in rural Maine with a dead car and broken ankle, Tegan worries she's made a terrible mistake. Then a miracle, she is rescued by a couple who offers her a room in their warm cabin until the snow clears. But something isn't quite right. Tegan believed she was waiting out the storm, but as time ticks by, she comes to realize she's in grave danger. This safe haven isn't what she thought it was, and staying here may be the most deadly mistake yet. This gives me Geneva Rose, You Shouldn't Have Come Here vibes. Not that I loved that book, I will say I didn't, but the ending really was quite horrific and crazy, and I kind of feel like that's where this is going, so I'm excited. All right, this next book I'm kind of honestly admittedly embarrassed to put on this list because I probably shouldn't be excited about this. Truly, I really shouldn't even post this, but I'm just going to put it out there. If you want to read it, go for it. I've just had to come to terms with the fact that I do love the Ruinous Love Trilogy by Brian Weaver. I really shouldn't. Nobody should. But I like it because it's so different. And I am excited about the newest book coming out February 11th, which is Scythe and Sparrow. It says, circus motorcycle performer Rose meets lonely small-town Dr. Fiona after a night of murderous adventures gone awry. Nobody should read this, but I also really want to read this. I'm actually really excited about this book because I love this author. I have found, now I'm not going to say every book she's ever written has been amazing. I don't know. I've only read one, but I loved the book Ready or Not by Cara, Bastone. It was just full of so much eccentric, quirky, sweet inner monologue, and I don't have an inner monologue that's quite profound. Honestly, I think that I don't have any inner monologue. You might be one of those people. Actually, like, it's statistically proven that some people have an inner voice, some people don't. I really don't have an inner voice. I just kind of like think, say. I don't think, process, analyze, say. I think this is going to be such a good book. This is Promise Me Sunshine, and I actually, oh, it's so snowy. I have the ARC, which I'm so excited that I got from NetGalley. It says, grieving the loss of her best friend, a young woman's life is turned upside down when she meets a grumpy stranger who swears he can help her live again, in this heartwarming, slow burn romance by the author of Ready or Not. All right, this next book may also come as a surprise because this will be the third strike. I have a third strike rule where I read an author 3 times, and if I do not like any of the books, I will definitely not go back. But I will say Courtney Walsh is a little bit unique. I would say that I read her first book, Summer of Yes, hated it. Read her second book of hers, Across Country Christmas, and I loved it. So that's like not a strike against her. So then I read Christmas with a Crank and DNF'd it because it was horrible. So she's kind of had only 2 strikes, right? Because one book of hers I liked. So this will be the third and final time I try this author. Sorry, Keisha. This book is Everything is Coming Up Rosie, and this is a novel. I think it's going to be a contemporary romance, and it comes out, let's see, June 10th, 2025. So quite a wait for this one, but I think it's just going to be super cute. It sounds so cute. It says, Rosie Waterman has one dream, to become a working actor. But lately that hasn't been working out. When she loses her apartment and her job at the same time, she does what she always does, puts herself out there ready to find the next big thing. But a trip home makes her realize that while she's been struggling to make this dream come true, all her friends have become real adults with careers, weddings, and babies on the way. That would be really hard. Rosie's been at this for years, and she has nothing to show for it. How does she simply let her dream go? When she's offered a job as a director of a regional theater's production of Cinderella, she jumps at the chance. Even though she's only directed in college and the job is in Door County, Wisconsin, and not in New York. I probably should have read that differently. She has no other offers, and at least she'll get paid. She's going to see if this was worth waiting for all along. It just sounds like a cute little coming-of-age story. I'm definitely a sucker for a story where the main character has kind of like prolonged their singleness, and they haven't gone with the sort of like norms of life to where people get married and they have babies, and they're kind of like caught in this like space where everyone else has kind of moved on and they haven't. I'm a sucker for those kind of books. Okay, so I have only read one Lynn Painter book, and that is, what is it? I read some of The Wager because I downloaded it onto my Kindle, but I hadn't finished it. I'm very big on starting and not finishing books. It's probably an issue that I have. Maybe I have ADHD. Who knows? But I read Better Than the Movies, and it was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I also started The Do-Over I never finished. So maybe I'm not that excited about this author. I'm just kidding. I am excited about this author because I do like her writing. I just need to find time to sit down and actually read her writing. But this is Made for Each Other, Maid as in M-A-I-D. And it says a millionaire and a house cleaner are a match made in heaven in the sparkling new romantic comedy by Lynn Painter. As a professional cleaner, Abby Marino never thought her apartment would have any sort of infestation, but because of a building-wide outbreak, she now has to go somewhere to stay. As a part-time student with 2 jobs, she doesn't have many options. Then a solution presents itself. The owner of a penthouse she cleans at is out of town for the week. She normally wouldn't consider it, but he's literally never home. It goes great until one morning she finds 2 strangers in the kitchen. They're the parents of the penthouse owner, and they seem to think they've heard all about Abby, not as their son's maid, but as his girlfriend. Declan Powell has always put his career first, working his way up to become an executive in the company, but he still has his sights set on the next level. When his parents mention that they met his girlfriend Abby, he all but chokes on his escargot. As wonderful as it sounds that she was just darling, he doesn't actually have a girlfriend. He made her up to get everyone off his back. When Dex finds out that who Abby really is, he makes her a proposition. Pretend to date him, and he'll provide everything she needs during her little arrangement. What harm could it do? This next author I have actually never read anything from, but my best friend Wendy and my friend Gwen and so many people that I adore love her as an author. I think she might be my friend Gwen's favorite author, and this is the book Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it is coming out, I believe, June 3rd, 2025. So a bit of a wait as well, but I'm excited about this book because there's already quite a bit of buzz around it, and it just kind of looks a little bit different from her normal stuff. If I was just making a judgment call off the cover, it kind of reminds me of like maybe the vibes of Wild, that book where a woman is setting out to find herself, because there's like a single woman on the cover. She looks like she's in the middle of some type of transition, but already this has high ratings and it hasn't even come out yet. So of course people have gotten the ARC. I'm excited because I did apply for the ARC. So let's hope I get it. But this says, from New York Times bestselling author Taylor Jenkins Reid, Joan Godwin has been obsessed with the stars as long as she can remember, thoughtful and reserved. Joan is content with her life as a professor of physics and astronomy at Rice University and as an aunt to her precious niece, Francie. That is until she comes across an advertisement seeking the first woman scientist to join NASA's space shuttle program. Suddenly, Joan burns to be one of those few people to go to space. She is about to set out on an epic adventure. Okay, I don't know if you've heard of her, but we actually have a local person here, Emily Colandrelli. She's from my state and she's from my town. I'm not going to say what town I live in. Probably not a good idea. But anyway, she is very popular for being the 100th woman in space just this year, or this past year. So it's really exciting to kind of read something sort of out of the box. This isn't my typical go-to stuff, but it actually just looks really exciting. So I also entered the giveaway. Double! I'm very excited for this one. Not that I read Summer Love, what's it called? Summer Romance. Did not read it. Got it, haven't read it, but everyone absolutely gushed about this book during summer. So this author is definitely beloved. Her new book called It's a Love Story, can't say that without singing, it's a love story, baby, just say yes. It's a Love Story by Annabel Monaghan. Comes out May 27th. I already have the arc and I'm super excited. Jane Jackson knows that true love is a lie. Laughter is the only truth. You can't fake a belly laugh. Jane should know she spent her adolescence as poor Janie Jakes, the barbecue sauce in her braces punchline on America's 5th favorite sitcom. Now she's a creative executive at Clearwater Studios and she's living by a new mantra, fake it till you make it. One of my mantras. Except she might have faked it too far. Desperate to get her first project greenlight and riled up by pompous cinematographer and one-time crush Dan Finnegan, she opened her mouth and a big fat fib fell out. She claimed that Jack Quinlan, hottest pop star of the moment, has promised to write an original song for the soundtrack. Jake may have been her first kiss and greatest source of shame, but she hasn't spoken to him in years. Now Jane must turn to the last man she'd ever want to owe, Dan Finnegan, because Jack is playing a festival in Dan's hometown on Long Island and Dan has an inn. A week is close quarters with Dan while facing down her past as Jane, the bad Jane, but Dan just might surprise her. While covering up her lie, can she find something true in her life? It just sounds super quirky, very nuanced, very niche audience, super cute. I'm very excited for it, so definitely look out for that one. I clap a lot. I'm not going to blurb this one too much or read like the entire backstory because I don't want to know it. I'm very excited about this and I don't want to know everything. I have come to terms with the fact that I like a very niche type of romance. And number one, I love Rebecca Searle. I love magical realism, but I like a romance that almost reads like a women's fiction. So I really like Emily Henry. And I've come to terms with the fact that I think I like her more than I think I like her. So I have planned this year to go back and reread all of her works. And I think I'm going to badge myself as an Emily Henry fan. And I think I'm going to get all of her paperback works in like a set because I think I've just come to terms with the fact that I really like her. But her newest book comes out, it's expected April 22nd, and it is Great Big Beautiful Life. It looks so adorable. It says 2 writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping novel by Emily Henry. There's a Pulitzer Prize winner in here that is trying to write with someone who's like lower ranking. So it just sounds like it's going to be so fun. I cannot wait to try this book out. And I think I'm just a fan. I'm a fan. Okay, so if you don't know me, I love movies about water. I didn't grow up going to the beach like everybody. My parents were not into it. So I grew up watching Disney Channel original movies about like girls who become mermaids and surfer girls and all that. And I'm like obsessed with the ocean. Like it's probably like abnormal. I'm obsessed with sharks, dolphins, and anything underwater. And so when I looked at this cover, it automatically attracted me. It's called Out of Air by Rachel Reiss, and this is expected in May 13th, 2025. I'm going to read the whole thing because it sounds so stinking cool. The deeper you go, the darker you fall. So she's like a diver. Phoebe Phoebes, is never more at home than when she's underwater. On a dive 6 months ago, she and her 4 closest friends discovered a handful of ancient gold coins, rocketing them into a social media fame. Now, their final summer together after high school, they're taking one last trip to a distant Australian island, love Australia, to do what they love most, scuba diving. While diving a local reef, Phoebes discovers a spectacular underwater sea cave rumored to be a lost cave with a buried treasure. But when Phoebes and her best friend Gabe surface from the cave, they notice they're undergoing strange changes. Oozing gashes that don't heal. Haunting whispers in their heads. Something has latched onto them, lurking beneath their skin, transforming them from the inside out. When treasure hunters arrive, desperate to find the location of the cave and hold Phoebes' group for ransom, she'll do anything to keep her friends safe. In the process, she learns that, of all the dreadful creatures of the sea, she might be the most terrifying of them all. It just sounds so cool. I just watched the Meg, and of course that's about like a megalodon, like the movie about the big shark with, I think, Jason Stamos or whatever. It was so good. So I'm definitely like someone who loves to read about water. Right. If you've been here for a while, you know that I met Riley Sager, and he's a Taylor Swift fan, and I loved him. I thought he was super fun. Says one train, no stops, a deadly game of survival and revenge. In 1942, 6 people destroyed Anna Mathion's family. 12 years later, she's ready for retribution. Sound familiar? Under false pretenses, Anna has lured those responsible for her family's downfall onto a luxury train from Philadelphia to Chicago, an overnight journey of 13 hours. Her goal? Confront the people who've wronged her, get them to confess their crimes, and deliver them into the hands of the authorities waiting on the other end. Sound familiar? But Anna's plan is quickly derailed by the murder of one of the passengers. As the train barrels through the night, it becomes clear that someone else on board is anticipating her every move. With time running out before the train reaches its destination, Anna is forced to hunt the killer in her midst while protecting the people she hates the most. In order to destroy her enemies, she must first save them, even though she is putting her own life at risk. There's no way this is not a retelling of the Murder on the Orient Express. Like, there's no way. There's no way. Anyway, sound familiar? Because it is. It's very reminiscent of A Murder on the Orient Express. I mean, let's be honest. Agatha Christie had her moment to shine. Everyone is going to steal her material just like they stole all of Sarah J. Maas's material, and just like she stole it from other people. I mean, it's just going to happen. But I do like the creative spin that she has to protect the people that she's trying to also kill. She's just trying to confront them. I kind of feel like that's lame. But I am excited about this book. I'm excited because I feel like it is so similar to the other book. I just want to know like what's going on. Sounds Like Love. I'm not going to read much about this because I really don't want to know what's happening, but it says a hit-making songwriter and a bitter musician share a startling and inexplicable connection that they'll do anything to shake in the next sparkling magical book from Ashley Poston. Do we still not know? I'm very excited for this book. I would like to say I read The 7-Year Slip, but I was in a really bad headspace when I read it because I read it right after my dad passed away. So I think I might revisit that book and try it again because I feel like Ashley Poston is kind of in the vein of what I like. Rebecca Searle, like all the vibes. So I'm definitely going to try it again, and I am looking forward to this book. I'm kind of mad about this next one because I got denied the NetGalley arc. Like, I'm trying so hard to finish all these arcs. Can you just throw me a bone? The next book, and I will say I really love the Taylor Swift references and the titles. It's a love story. Now Abby Jimenez's new book is Say You'll Remember Me. Is anyone else playing Wildest Dreams in their head right now? Say you'll remember me, standing in a nice dress, staring at the sunset, babe. Actually, a better singer than that. I sing for church. That was singing for pleasure. All right, so Abby Jimenez's new book is pre-ordered already by me, dropping April 1st. freaking yes. I'm so excited. Abby Jimenez has proven time and time again that she's a must-read author. There might be no such thing as a perfect guy, but Xavier Rush comes distractingly close. A gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibe, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. Immediately, yes. That is until Xavier opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say absolutely the wrong thing. Like, really wrong. There's nothing Samantha loves more than proving an a-hole wrong. Unless, of course, he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible and seemingly endless date, possibly the best in living history, Samantha is forced to admit the truth that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, crushing as that might be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something between them is magical. Why can't I read? And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life and even love worth remembering. This kind of reminds me of my favorite quote, and it is, love does not need a future. So I do like this abstract idea that like love can happen in so many different ways. It can never really amount to anything, but it's the beauty that there's an opportunity to love that way. So anyway, I'm excited for this book, needless to say. That concludes my books that I am looking forward to. But I also got The Favorites by Lane Fargo, and I'm already loving it, already started reading it, and think it's like so great. So definitely check out all of these books. I hope that you are so excited for reads for 2025. Great books are coming up. Also baby books that we don't even know about, yet to be released, yet to be talked about. So I just feel like it's going to be a great reading year, and I just wish you all the luck with all of your books and all of your reading. I hope your books are amazing and your tea is delicious, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.